Mendez stood outside a small blue house, his heart beating fast, his hand held Sonia's gently. That evening, they were visiting her mother to share big news. Mendez's father stood behind him, smiling politely. The air felt heavy and warm, and Mendez had a strange flutter in his stomach. He did not know why he felt so nervous. Welcome to Royal Beat Tales, a home of interesting stories. Sonia squeezed Mendez's hand. She was excited and a little scared. They were about to tell her mother that they wanted to get married. Sonia also carried another secret in her belly. She was going to have a baby. She hadn't told her mother yet. She hoped it would be a happy surprise. Inside the house, footsteps came toward the door. When the door opened, a kind-looking woman appeared. She had gentle eyes and a warm smile, just like Sonia. But the moment Mendez's father saw the woman's face, his own smile froze. His eyes went wide as if he had seen a ghost. Sonia's mother gasped and stepped back, covering her mouth with her hand. Time seemed to stop. Mendez felt a chill run down his spine. He looked at his father, then at Sonia's mother, not understanding why they were both suddenly shaking. In that silent instant, everyone's world was about to change forever. Many years earlier, Mendez and Sonia were happy children living in a big house with a green garden. They were not just brother and sister. They were twins born on the same day. They did everything together, playing tag under the old oak tree, chasing butterflies, and building sandcastles in the sandbox. At night, their mother read them fairy tales, while their father made silly faces, making them laugh. Mendez would smile and promise to always take care of his little sis, even though they were the same age. One sunny afternoon when they were about 10 years old, everything changed. Their parents had been arguing in whispers for weeks, but that day the whispers turned into shouts. Mendez and Sonia hid at the top of the stairs, clutching each other's hands as they listened. They didn't understand all the words, but they knew something was very wrong. Sonia's eyes filled with tears, and Mendez whispered, "It will be okay," even though he felt scared too. Suddenly their father came up the stairs with a suitcase in hand. He looked sad and angry at the same time. He told Mendez to pack some clothes and come with him to the car. Their mother cried and held Sonia back, refusing to let her go. The twins realized in shock that they were being pulled apart. "Papa, please, I want to stay with Sonia," Mendez cried, grabbing his sister's arm. Sonia sobbed and tried to reach him, but their mother held her tightly. The last thing Mendez saw as his father carried him away was Sonia's small hand reaching out, her face wet with tears. He pressed his own palm against the car window as it drove off, watching his sister grow smaller and smaller in the distance. That night, in 2 different bedrooms, both twins clutched their matching teddy bears and cried themselves to sleep, feeling more alone than ever. Neither of them knew this was just the beginning of a long, lonely journey. They had no idea if they would ever see each other again. Life went on, but it was never the same. Mendez lived with his father in a new city, while Sonia stayed with her mother in their hometown. At first, Mendez cried every night for his sister. His father gently wiped his tears and told him that Sonia and his mother were not coming back. In his anger and pain, Mendez's father even hinted that they were gone forever. Little by little, Mendez stopped asking. He tried to remember Sonia's voice and smile, but as the years passed, those memories faded like a dream. Sonia asked her mother every day when she could see Mendez. Her mother would only stroke her hair and say, "Your brother is not with us anymore, dear." The quiet answer made Sonia's heart ache. Eventually, she stopped asking too. Sometimes at night, she still whispered Mendez's name into the dark, hoping somehow he could hear her. Years went by. Both twins grew into smart, caring young adults. Mendez studied hard and became a skilled surgeon. Perhaps saving lives helped fill the emptiness he felt inside. Sonia became a kind doctor, wanting to heal others, maybe because she knew what it was like to hurt quietly. Even though they lived apart, each felt something missing. especially on birthdays or lonely evenings. They believed they were only children, alone in the world. They had no idea that fate would bring them together again. A big surprise was waiting just around the corner. One bright spring day at a medical conference, Mendez accidentally spilled a bit of coffee on a young lady's notebook. That lady was Sonia. He apologized nervously, but she just smiled and laughed it off. They introduced themselves and decided to sit together during the talks. Mendez felt a strange warmth with her, as if he knew her somehow. As they chatted quietly between sessions, they discovered funny coincidences. They were the same age and even shared the same birthday. "What are the odds?" Sonia giggled. "Maybe we were twins in another life," Mendez joked, not knowing how true that was. They found it easy to talk and made each other laugh. By the end of the day, Mendez was enchanted. He asked Sonia if she'd like to have dinner together. To his delight, she said yes. They walked out into the evening, chatting about their favorite books and childhood dreams. Both felt as if a missing piece of their heart had been found. Neither guessed that this chance meeting was actually fate. Their story was only beginning, and many surprises lay ahead. After the conference, Mendez and Sonia stayed in touch. Friendly phone calls turned into long conversations each night. They talked about everything: work, favorite songs, and childhood dreams. The more they shared, the closer they grew. Soon they began to go on dates. One sunny day, Mendez took Sonia rowing on a lake at the park. He wasn't very good at rowing. The little boat spun in circles and splashed water everywhere, making them both laugh until their sides hurt. Later, sitting under a shady tree, Sonia admitted she often felt lonely growing up without any siblings. Mendez quietly confessed he felt the same way. In that moment, they realized each had filled a lonely space in the other's heart. As months passed, their love blossomed. One evening, Mendez cooked a special dinner and even tried to bake a chocolate cake for Sonia, her favorite. He accidentally burned the cake, filling the kitchen with smoke. They ended up laughing and ordering pizza instead. That night, with a pounding heart, Mendez got down on one knee and asked Sonia to marry him. With happy tears in her eyes, she said yes. A few weeks after their engagement, Sonia received wonderful news. She was expecting a baby. Mendez was overjoyed. It seemed their future was shining bright. They decided it was time for their families to meet and share the good news. Neither of them imagined that their joy was about to turn into heartbreak. Sonia's mother opened the door and froze. "Alejandro," she whispered in shock, recognizing Mendez's father. He nodded slowly, equally stunned. In that moment, it became clear. They knew each other. Mendez looked from his father to Sonia's mother, bewildered. Sonia felt her stomach twist. This woman was her father's long-lost wife. A terrible realization was dawning on them both. Eleanor, Sonia's mother, pointed at Mendez with a trembling hand. Is this our son?" she asked, voice shaking. Mendez's father whispered, "Yes. And that means Sonia is our daughter." Sonia's legs nearly gave way. The world spun around her. The man she loved was her twin brother. Mendez's face went pale as he understood the horrible truth at the same time. "No, this can't be true," Sonia cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. She had grown up thinking her father and brother were gone forever. Now, in one moment, she found them both, and learned that her beloved Mendez was actually her brother. Mendez reached out to her, his own eyes filling with tears. But their parents stepped between them. Mendez's father shook his head, regret in his eyes. "This has to stop," he said firmly. "You two can't be together. It isn't right." Eleanor held her daughter close, sobbing. "My poor children," she whispered. "We should have told you the truth. We never meant this to happen." Anger and heartbreak raged inside Mendez. He looked at his father, voice cracking. "You lied to me. You said they were gone," he said. His father's shoulders sagged. "I thought it was for the best." "I never imagined," he replied, his voice full of remorse. Sonia turned to her mother with pain in her eyes. "Mama, Why didn't you tell me I had a brother? She wept. Eleanor could only hug her tighter, saying, I'm sorry, over and over. Amid the confusion, Sonia remembered why they had come. She placed a shaking hand on her belly. I'm pregnant, she whispered. Eleanor gasped, and Mendez's father closed his eyes in despair. What had been a joyous dream moments ago had become a nightmare. Sonia and Mendez stood facing each other in tears, their hearts shattered. They had found what they always yearned for, family and love, only to realize it was the same thing. None of them knew what to do next, as fear and sorrow hung thick in the air. That night was the hardest of Mendez and Sonia's lives. Back home, Mendez told his father through tears, I love her and I won't leave her. His father's face was full of pain. He insisted, she's your sister. This is against the law and against nature. You must end it. He warned that they could lose everything if they stayed together. At one point, he even hinted that maybe Sonia should not have the baby. Mendez felt anger rise in his chest. Our baby is innocent. We will not harm our child, he said firmly, refusing to consider such an idea. Across town, Sonia sat with her mother, who begged her to be realistic. People will never accept this, her mother warned. If you have this baby, life will be very hard. Sonia knew her mother was right about the world's judgment, but she could not imagine ending her pregnancy or never seeing Mendez again. She just cried and shook her head, her heart completely torn. Later that night, Mendez could not bear to be apart from Sonia. He slipped out and drove to her house. Standing under her window, he tossed a tiny pebble to get her attention. Sonia opened the window and saw him. Her heart fluttered with relief and fear. She quietly tiptoed out to the moonlit garden, the same garden where they had once played as children, though neither remembered that. They fell into each other's arms, trembling. In hushed voices, Mendez said he didn't care what anyone said. He still loved her and would not abandon her or their baby. He suggested they leave and go far away, to a place where no one knew them. Sonia was frightened by the idea of running away, but she also knew she couldn't live without Mendez or give up their child. With tears in her eyes, she agreed. Under the silent stars that night, they made their choice. They would go against their families and society to stay together. It was a brave choice born of love, but it would come at a great cost. The hardest part of their journey was yet to come. Mendez and Sonia quietly moved abroad and started a new life where no one knew them. It was hard being away from their families, but they held on to each other. As the months went by, they prepared a cozy little room for the baby and tried to stay hopeful, though a shadow of fear often lingered in their hearts. One stormy night, Sonia went into labor earlier than expected. Mendez rushed her to the small local hospital. After hours of anxious waiting, a nurse finally brought heartbreaking news. Their baby boy had never taken a breath. He was born silent. Mendez and Sonia were devastated. They held their son, a beautiful tiny boy, in their arms, saying hello and goodbye in the same moment. They named him Angel and wept over him, their tears falling onto his soft cheeks. A week later, under a grey sky, they buried baby Angel on a small hill. Only the two of them stood by the little grave, holding each other for strength. It felt as if their hearts had shattered into pieces. Mendez and Sonia returned to their quiet apartment as two people who had lost almost everything and everyone, except each other. They had chosen to stay together against all odds, and now they also shared this heavy sorrow. Their love had survived, but it was forever marked by pain. They could only wonder how life might have been if their family had never been torn apart, if their parents had not separated the twins and kept such big secrets. Mendez and Sonia would have grown up knowing each other as brother and sister and never fallen in love by mistake. The tragedy they faced would have been avoided. Parents should always put their children's well-being first, especially during a divorce. Honesty and kindness when a family breaks apart can prevent heartbreak in the future. Mothers and fathers must remember that the choices they make can shape their children's whole lives. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment for more interesting stories.